The battlefield dust fades as our story continues. Following the brutal clash with Raditz and Nappa, Vegeta, Nori, and the blindfolded female teleport back to City of Bao with the surviving family members. The city glows with faint, counting energy towers of stone, awe-inspiring architecture, banners fluttering in the wind. The air smells faintly of smoke and hope. They materialize in the massive tower chamber. Cold stone, towering pillars, and echoing ceiling far above. The family hugs close, trembling, staring around in disbelief at the might of their refuge. But as they appear, the air crackles with tension. Vegeta says while his voice shaking, eyes blazing, turning to the blindfolded female. Bulla's name screamed in the middle of the battlefield. He steps forward, fists clenching, the air thickening. I need answers. Now. What happened to my family Bulma, Bulla, and Trunks? Why did the enemy scream Bulla's name? The blindfolded female coldly asks, voice steady, refusing to look at him directly, turning her back. That's not the time, Vegeta. Vegeta exploding, power surging, the very walls trembling under his rage says, "You do not turn your back on me." He lunges, reaching out to grab her shoulder, anger radiating from his aura like a detonation. Before his hand can touch her, Nori steps in, grabbing Vegeta's wrist with surprising strength. Nori gritted, eyes locked, and says, "Prince, wait." Vegeta snarls, eyes blazing, Super Saiyan erupting spontaneously, gold light flaring across the chamber, lightning crackling in the air. Vegeta roaring, voice shattering the air. "Get out of my way." He jerks his arm free, firing a bright ki blast. Nori barely dodges, the beam crashing into the wall, dust and rubble exploding outward. Vegeta, eyes blazing, charges forward, fists swinging pure, unrestrained rage. Nori dodges, weaves, parries, never a single move wasted. The air crackles as their fists meet, the chamber shaking. Finally, Vegeta lands a devastating punch square into Nori's jaw, the shockwave rattling the entire tower. For a second, it looks like the blow will shatter him. But Nori stands firm, unaffected, his eyes blank, cold, emotionless. Then, out of his body, a thick bolt of black lightning erupts, blasting through the ceiling, blowing away chunks of stone. Vegeta says, eyes wide, stunned. What was that? Before he can gather his thoughts, Nori's fingers barely twitch, his expression still frozen. The shockwave rips across the floor, slamming into Vegeta's chest like a train hitting a wall, sending him flying through the stone-made door of the chamber, scattering it to dust. The crack echoes like a thunderclap. Vegeta slams into the opposite wall, the air blasting out of his lungs. He tries to stand, limbs shaking, dazed, staring at Nori through the shattered doorway, disbelief in his eyes. Vegeta muttering hoarsely, "How? Such power?" Before he can recover, Nori appears directly in front of him, gaze cold, eyes dead, like a reaper's gaze. Another bolt of black lightning arcs from his body, slicing the air, scorching the ground, the stone melting into obsidian trails. The heat warps the air, the light crackling. Nori says, voice hollow, flat. "You're outmatched, Prince." Out of nowhere, the blindfolded woman appears between them, arms still crossed, the black lightning grazing her shoulders harmlessly, the stone floor beneath her glowing faintly, like it's refusing to crack. Blindfolded female smirking, sharp teeth revealed says, "Big mistake, Nori." Her hand flicks, fingers twitching, even while her arms remain locked. The ground beneath Nori explodes from a shockwave, sending him crashing through multiple cave walls, his silhouette vanishing into the deep, echoing darkness. The thunder continues deep within the mountain. Vegeta, still in full Super Saiyan form, grits his teeth, staring at the woman, his rage boiling over. Vegeta fist shaking, aura crackling around him. Where is Bulla? With a roar, he lunges forward, fist blazing with golden ki, aimed directly at the blindfolded woman. The blow, in any other world, would have shattered a mountain. But at the last second, his fist slams into an invisible barrier, shimmering like a curved glass dome, his knuckles crackling against it, his arm stopping dead in the air. The barrier emits a soft, discordant hum, the air rippling outward. Vegeta, eyes wide, stunned, breathing heavily, says, "What in the hell was that?" The blindfolded female turned around and comes facing Vegeta's fist with the invisible shield between them. Vegeta, exploding with rage, pushed harder as his fist moved a tiny bit closer. The blindfolded female says, smirking, voice amused, still without looking at him. I expected nothing less from the mighty Prince Vegeta. She stepped forward, face to face with Vegeta. The golden aura crackles against the invisible shield, crackling, shimmering, the sound like glass under pressure. Vegeta says while his voice shaking, barely controlled, "What happened to my daughter?" The blindfolded woman's expression shifts, her relaxed smirk dropping, expression going cold, serious, void of emotion. The air around her feels heavier, the background noise fading, the room suddenly silent. The blindfolded female voice low, voice echoing in the silence says, "She is dead." Vegeta's entire body jerks, his aura sputtering, his face paling, eyes blazing, but the gold light flickers, then completely fades. His Super Saiyan form vanishes, his hair dropping back to black, his eyes filled with a grief he barely understood. His knees buckle, he drops to the ground, the air leaving him, his body shaking, shoulders trembling. Vegeta whispering, voice broken, eyes wide, tears gathering, "Bulla dead. How did this happen?" Before the dust of his impact can settle, the barrier around them shifts, expanding into a swirling cloud of dust and sand, engulfing Vegeta and the blindfolded woman. The air glows faintly, the light deepening, and the world blurs, colors shifting, the stone walls dissolving into a distant, echoing darkness. Then they materialize in an enormous, circular chamber far deeper within City of Bao's heart, the Spirit Citadel, the council room of the Resistance, the very seat of strategists' planning. The walls are carved with intricate Saiyan and ancient symbols, with banners hanging between the pillars. The dust settles. The blindfolded woman stands, arms still crossed, eyes locked forward, expression unreadable. Vegeta stands, knees shaking, his mind racing, the words "Bulla is dead" echoing in his mind. The blindfolded female voice, gentle, commanding, hand raised slightly, says, "Rise, my prince. No one has ever seen you on your knees." Vegeta hesitates, the weight of grief, responsibility, and confusion pressing down. Slowly, he forces himself up, the air grunting under his movement, the dust swirling around his boots. His eyes lock on the blindfolded woman. Vegeta says, voice shaking, anger laced with pain, "Tell me, what happened?" The blindfolded woman says, voice calm, composed, relaxing her arms, folding her fingers together, "My name is Sylvanas. I'm the second in command of the City of Bao's Resistance." She pauses, allowing the weight of the title to sink in. Then continues, the air around her growing heavier. After Android 17's wish at the end of the Tournament of Power, the Forbidden Universe X was restored. Zenith, the universal sorceress, declared war on the angels and gods. The Grand Ministers, the archangels, the celestial deities. Everything trembled under her assault. But Zeno, the great universal leader, refused to repeat the mistakes of the ancient war. He chose to negotiate instead of fight. She pauses, eyes distant, the chamber silent. Then she continues. 3 years after the Tournament of Power, everything settled. Zenith negotiated a peace deal. In exchange for not destroying the remaining 12 universes, she would be allowed to rule 4 Universe 6, 7, 11, and 12. Universe 7, the crown jewel of the 12, was chosen by her as her own domain. She wanted Goku, the one whose very existence could shatter the balance of the multiverse. Vegeta, eyes widening, leaning in, says, "Goku. He's the one." Sylvanas nodding at. In the future, 1.5 years from your timeline, Goku will surpass the Ultra Instinct State Angel, becoming the first mortal to rival the Grand Minister himself. The only one who will ever stand above him will be the Grand Minister, the very one who once sealed the multiverse shut. Zenith knew this. She saw his power, his potential, his raw will, a force capable of devouring universes whole. And so, she devised a plan. Her voice lowers, almost a whisper. Sylvanas says. She had a daughter, Machi. The strongest, most powerful, most dangerous blend of sorcery and divine bloodline. Machi, unlike anything the angels have ever seen. Zenith's plan was simple. Wed Machi to Goku, bind him to her, and create a hybrid line of Saiyan, angel, sorceress. Sylvanas continues. The first time they came to Earth, The same day as the agreement, Zenith and Machi arrived at Goku's house. He was training, as always. The moment he saw Zenith, the memories of his Saiyan legacy returned. He remembered his true mission: to seek the ultimate power, to dominate the multiverse, to become the strongest being in existence. Zenith gave him a single drop of her blood. A simple, tiny vial, with a single drop of crimson liquid. Goku drank it. She pauses, letting the silence hang, the air thick with dread. Sylvanas continues. The moment the drop touched his lips, his mind shattered. Goku, your best friend, your rival, your brother-in-arms became completely, utterly, and irrevocably under Zenith's control. He turned into the ultimate weapon. The very same night, he walked into his house, his eyes lifeless, his movements mechanical. And he killed his wife, Chi-Chi. He cut her head clean off and carried it as an offering to Machi. Vegeta's fists clench, eyes blazing, his entire body shaking involuntarily, the anger in him bubbling over. Vegeta says, whispering, voice trembling. What are you saying? That Goku killed his own wife? That's impossible. Sylvanas says, voice cutting through his denial. The very second Goku finished that act, Zenith disappeared. She never set foot on Earth again. Goku and Machi teleported to Gohan's house. There, they took out Gohan and Goten with a single swipe. Machi, the very same moment, knocked out Goten with a flick of her finger. Gohan, too, never stood a chance. Her gaze shifts, locking onto Vegeta's face. Sylvanas continues, you felt it, Vegeta of this timeline. You felt the sudden shift of power, the strings of reality being pulled differently. You went to Gohan's house and saw the aftermath. The destruction, the bodies, the horror. Vegeta says, voice shaking, mind racing, the memory flashing across his vision briefly. I did. But I didn't slash. Sylvanas continues, cutting in, voice steady, cold, factual. You didn't intervene. You felt something wrong about him. Something. Not Goku. You sensed the presence of Videl and Pan still alive, buried under the ruins. So you saved them, taking them to Bulma, only to find the house completely destroyed. Bulma and Bulla gone. The air in the room feels like thick glass, the sound of their breathing echoing. Vegeta whispering, eyes unfocused, grief and rage mixing into a single, shattered expression. Bulma. Bulla. His voice cuts off, his chest tight, his eyes shut, tears gathering at the edge of his lashes. The grief, the loss, the betrayal, the guilt of never being there, of not being fast enough, floods his mind in a single, overwhelming wave. Sylvanas says, voice softening, almost gentle. Later that day, the Grand Minister summoned the angels of Universe 6, 7, 11, and 12 to the Angel Palace. But by the time Whis left, Beerus had already sensed the deaths of the gods of Universes 6, 11, and 12. Vegeta, eyes widening, leaning closer, says, the gods of destruction, dead? All of them. Sylvanas nods. Machi, with Goku's power amplified by Zenith's blood, slaughtered them. And they came after Beerus too. They came to his planet where Broly was there too. The battle between Broly and Beerus against Goku and Machi was fierce, heroic, but futile. They barely escaped, returning to Earth only to find that the entire planet had been invaded by Saiyan soldiers. The human population, billion strong, had already been wiped out. Her gaze hardens, voice dropping to a whisper. Sylvanas continues. The war had begun. In the early days, nearly 27 years ago, the resistance of Universe 7 formed Vegeta, Broly, Piccolo, Android 17, Android 18, Beerus and Boo. The power balance was even, the war fought for survival. But 20 years later, three powerhouses appeared. No one saw them coming. The war turned one-sided, the rebellion crushed, the survivors forced into hiding here, in City of Bao. Vegeta's mind races, the implications sinking in, the full picture forming. The connection tying everything together, the past, the present, the future. There's a long pause, the dust settling around the two figures. Sylvanas sensing something, the air crackling with a subtle energy ripple, voice soft says, Prince, I need to cut this short. I'll come back soon and finish this story. She turns, gesturing toward the towering circular doors. The energy crackles. Then Sylvanas brings her hand to her chest, focusing on her senses, a whisper escaping. Sylvanas, whispering softly, says, "Hang in there in 18. A swirling cloud of dust and sand envelopes her, the chamber distorting, the air crackling, the colors shifting into a swirling vortex. The world blurs, the stone walls fading, the distant echo of alarms sounding like distant drums. The dust settles, and the chamber opens into the middle of the city of Bao, a massive, circular, open-air plaza, the sky a dark, swirling blown, the people milling about below, the air thick with desperation and fear. Sylvanas appears, her hands in her pockets, center, dust swirling, eyes sharp, scanning the shadows under a dark stone bridge. Her gaze locks onto a dark, creeping shadow, the figure barely visible under the structure. Sylvanas, calling out, voice low, commanding, says, "Pan, your best friend and your mother are in danger." A shadow emerges from the darkness. Pan, older, eyes sharp, posture tight, eyes burning with quiet fury. Pan, voice cold, certain, eyes hard, says, "Understood, my lady. I'll take care of it." Sylvanas smirks, the corner of her lips curling, a faint, dark, approving glint, the crackle of energy dancing around her fingers. Sylvanas muttering, voice low, almost a hum, "Excellent." A small sphere of energy, barely visible, generates in her hand, swirling like a tiny vortex, crackling with elemental power. Pan's body flickers, dissolving into a stream of light, the air shimmering, the circle expanding, before vanishing completely, the energy rippling outward, the stone steps crackling faintly. The city's bustle continues, the lights flickering, the air crackling around the bridge, the storm brewing, the echoes of battle still distant, but the tension rising, the reality of the war clearer than ever. Right then and there, Episode 5 of Dragon Ball, Godzilla Season 1, came to a close. Vegeta learns the truth: his daughter gone, his brother turned enemy, his world in ruins. But is this the real future? Or one twisted by Zenith's rule? Can he change fate before it's written in blood? Will Vegeta stay broken? Or rise as the prince who defies destiny? Like if you want Vegeta to save the multiverse. Share with every Saiyan fan and spread the war hype. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss Episode 6.
The city never sleeps.